Chris at the door. George Coventry, our treasurer, thanks for taking my job. And at the back doing that wonderful food, I even ate it, Trish. JC, Liz, Leslie, Anne Marie helping with the tickets and does our publicity, Andrew helping on the sound, Robert on the lights, and last but not least, our brilliant sound guy, Dave. Come up here, Dave. Get that out of the way, will you? So if you're thinking nostalgia ain't what it used to be, bear with me for just a couple of minutes. Next January will be the Folk Society's 20th anniversary. B.A.D.A.S has been around for 10, the Folk Society for 20 next January. And for that special thing, we will have Alex, the folk band. Not just a band. This is the band that started the Folk Society. And Dave and I were there at the very beginning. January 24th, 1994, in Gord Ball's living room, we started up, it was basically the band, maybe a few others, workshopping songs that we might do in the band, and just things that we were each interested in, not just stuff that would be good for the band. So that's really where the Folk Society started from. We didn't call it that at the time, but that's the date I took because I actually knew that date, and that's where it started. So Dave has been with us. Well, he kind of went to Mariposa, the big pond, for a little while, but he came back, and he's been doing a yeoman's job on sound for years and years and years and years and years. He has put up with some of the worst prima donnas I have ever met in the folk business. No, not that many, but a few really just... I'll talk to you later.
I cannot speak freely.
So Dave, come up here. We have a lifetime pass for Dave. We always want him to be here, even if he's not helping anymore. And a gift certificate from Manacor to do a little reading in your second retirement. Would you like to say a few words?
How can I say it? Somebody around here fix the mic? I enjoy doing sound here. I enjoy working with everyone who's involved with the Orillia Folk Society. I came to the realization that eventually I'd be wheeling in here on a wheelchair, hanging off the soundboard if I didn't do something dramatic and tell them that I was finished. And so I don't know, are we still looking for a sound guy?
Yep.
Okay, so does anyone want a person? Sorry, Trish.
We're going to go unplugged now. There's no way we could follow you.
After 12 years of dealing with it, from loading the truck to, repairing the gear, and like Paul said, some of the performers were great. Most of the performers were great, but I just ran out of patience, quite honestly. And so I'm ready to move on.
And then we bring them 10 people to finish with.
Well, that's okay. This kind of thing's okay. Strangely enough, I probably shouldn't say this, but the most difficult one I had to do was quartet. Professional performers for many, many years. Been there, done that, nervous as hell. I finally had to walk up to the stage and say, look, no one will come in this room until we have this sorted out, so just settle down. Little Dave from Orillia. That's what sound guys like. Thank you very much.
Paul's good.
Paul's.
That's That's it.
I'm really glad that Dave Hadfield said he stole from himself, because that's, some people in B.A.D.A.S think that's, you know, I don't believe you did that, and I do that all the time. Don't get me messed up here. Okay, the first of our next performers is Paul Court. Paul was at our first meeting, December 2nd, 2002. He's been to 111 meetings.
More than anybody else.
That's right.
You and me.
And he's written 80 songs. And you'll hear the good ones tonight. Roy Hickling joined us in August of 2008. He's been to 40 meetings and written 28 songs. Pretty good. Scott Cooper is another 100%er. In the first 10 years, he joined us for the last year of it, February 2nd, 2012, and he's 5 for 5. Now, we picked these people by lottery, but that was just to get the 10. And then I asked people if in particular they wanted to be with anybody, or, you know, first set, whatever. And everybody is so easygoing. They're just like, yeah, whatever. You'll do it. You know, you arrange everything. You got the stats. You're good. So it's no accident that these two guys are in my set. Okay. Roy Hickling. Okay, there used to be a guy in B.A.D.A.S, David Zub, who's moved to the Sioux and can't come. And he always loved having me around, because at a party or a B.A.D.A.S meeting or whatever, he'd be thinking something really nasty, and he could count on me to say it. He called me the farting dog. So, you know, oh, what's that smell? It's Paul. Okay, so Roy is that for me. You'll probably get some of that in the songwriting. Scott Cooper, also known as Scooter to his young friends. Scooter is a recent addition, but the best, just the best. As far as I bring a song to B.A.D.A.S, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good, but it just needs one thing. Scott comes up with it. If Roy doesn't, Scott comes up with it every time. One little thing. Why don't you just invert that? Oh, that's it. I'm always saying thank you so much to Scott. So I'm really glad to have these guys up.
You get co-writing credit for that?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. I'll check my paperwork. Okay.
That's not right. I think your things are screwed up.
Things?
You said I've only been to 5 B.A.D.A.S meetings? That's not
No,
right.
in the first 10 years.
Oh,
That ended in December.
Sorry.
What have you done for us lately?
Sorry. I understand what you're saying now. It
It's
makes
all
no
about 10
sense.
years. Nostalgia ain't what it used to be.
I understand.
So, Don Bray is not with us tonight. I couldn't tell you why. We don't see a whole lot of him. But he and I started this thing. We agree on a whole bunch of stuff about songwriting, except for not stealing from yourself. He's the guy that goes, oh, I don't believe you did that. But one thing we agree on is that the best songs come from emotion. The better the emotional connection you have to your own point of view or the person's point of view that you're imitating, the better the song is going to be. So this one is the hardest song I ever wrote. It's about my dad. He came over, he was a home child. He was an orphan, born in the first year of the First World War. Came over when he was 14 years old, completely alone. Had been separated from his brother at the last minute. Fucking bureaucrats. Uncle Stan, his glasses were ready. So they took him off the train platform to get his glasses, and Reg just took the train to Liverpool and got on the ship without him. So Dad never talked about it. Never talked about what it was like, what any of it was like. We had some idea, because we would go and visit, when I was very young, we would go and visit the people that he was with, working on the farm down in Niagara. But he wouldn't give us any details or anything, and we daren't ask. He just didn't want to talk about it. So I had to imagine everything. So this is it. It's called Orphan Ship. I'm sailing to a new world. God knows what I'll find. I can't see what's in front of me or what I've left behind. I'm scared to death of what I'll be. An iceberg's hidden depth. The fog rolls in around us and catches every breath. Sail, sail away. Go for going's sake. Set the compass west. Leave nothing in our wake. This old ship is crowded with urchins full of fear. We spill our guts in buckets, in whispers and in tears. And we travel just like Jonah. No hand in navigation. Swallowed down by destiny and up at destination. Sail, sail away. Go for going's sake. Set the compass west. Leave nothing in our wake. That gangway is the longest bridge. It spans a hemisphere. I walked on 1,000,000 miles ago. They say I'll join a family, and I'll work on their farm. Maybe grow some things I've never seen, and they'll keep me from harm. Now there's nothing but horizon here on the open sea. Above the breach of my despair is possibility. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Paul. Let's talk a little bit about the editing stage of songwriting, and specifically at the start of how B.A.D.A.S fits into that. Yeah, and I think most of us really sort of try to work on our songs and have them pretty solid when we bring them in. And there's, like Paul says, there's always that little suggestion, that idea. And I can't tell you how many times I thought I've had a song there, and I've made it better by going to B.A.D.A.S, coming with those changes. So while there's so many of the B.A.D.A.S people in the room, I just like this opportunity to say, bastards. The next type of editing I wanted to mention was stage editing. That's the worst kind. That's when you're in the middle of a song, you realize, oh no, this is long, or this is bad, or I shouldn't have done that, or people are falling asleep. And so hopefully you won't see any stage editing tonight. But you might see edit drift. I just thought of this one today. Now, edit drift is when you edit a song, but then when you're performing it, the old version comes in. And sometimes from like way back in old songs, you'll sing something like, my goodness, where I'd forgotten that was even in the song. And I'm in the process of recording some songs, and there's been pretty substantial edits on a couple of them. Of course, those are the ones I'm doing tonight. So watch for edit drift. The next thing I was going to mention was that if I'm somewhere without a guitar and start writing a song, I just keep writing lyrics. And then you sometimes have the very painful job of trying to, take 6 or 7 minutes of bloated song and stuffing it into 3 or 4. This next song actually is one of those songs. I was on a trip out to Lougheed, Alberta. It's a little town of maybe 250 people. And I was standing in front of the Legion and noticed a plaque. And in this small town in Alberta, there was a Victoria Cross winner that was born and lived in the town. And there was a gentleman standing outside, and I asked him about Cecil. I said, did he have a good life after he came back? And he just gave me kind of a funny look and looked away and then shook his head. And I was hooked at that point. I just started asking everybody in town their stories. Some people actually had met him and knew him. He'd been gone for 50 years. My mom actually remembers dancing with him when she was a teenager. So it's kind of cool to have that memory come back to her. But I was hooked, and we were staying in the hotel in town, and we're probably in the room that Cecil lived in for a while. And I woke up the next morning, and even before I opened my eyes, the first image I had in my head was khaki and the Victoria Cross right in front of my eyes, and lyrics just boom, 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 just banging in my head. That doesn't happen very often, but when it does happen, it's great fun. So anyways, this is a song I wrote, and it's called Cecil J. Kinross, VC. Deep in the mud of Passchendaele, digging a trench was like digging to hell. Cecil J. Kinross fought there and won the Victoria Cross. General Haig measured the progress in yards. I guess counting the dead was a little too hard. 250,000 wounded and gone, but Cecil saved some. Machine gun fire had them pinned down until Cecil took off across open ground. After he took out the gun and 6 men, they made 300 yards on that day. Come to me, run to me, can't you see victory here in Victoria's arms? Most awarded VCs were already dead, but Cecil survived, getting shot in the head. And 4 men fell trying to stretcher him down. He walked in alone, and Cecil would say, it wasn't brave what I done. We'd save up our rations and fight fear with Sometimes he drank a little too much. He was known as a wild one, but he was well loved. From the Legion at Lougheed to the hotel door, it's 200 steps and not a step more. Cecil lived there for 20-odd years. He died there alone. Who knows what an old soldier carries inside? The guilt of survival, the horror, the pride, the weight of the dreams of his buddies that died all those years ago. Come to me, run to me, can't you see victory here in Victoria's arms? Come to me, run to me, can't you see victory here in Victoria's arms?
So I have the role of badass newbie, and
The badass baby.
I'm the badass baby, the badass newbie. And I must admit that it still gives me a little titillating thrill to say I'm badass. I like doing that. Being relatively new, Sean McGaughy actually lobbied for me to get involved. So I want to say thanks to him for that, because I was sort of drifting on all sorts of strange tides where I live in Penetanguishene. And it's a great, wonderful tool to have to run song ideas off these wonderfully talented and most importantly diverse, brilliant people. And it's humbling and it's eye-opening and there's all these great things. And I was coming at some of my songs at the time that I joined the group from less of a folk angle and more kind of a sort of an indie sad bastard kind of songs. And I wanted everyone to like me. It was a lot of pressure going into this long-time group.
Well, you
and
gotta get over that, buddy.
yeah, I kind of don't care now, but at the time it was a big deal. And one of the unifying things of the group outside of songs is that everyone seems to be really passionate about scotch and whiskey.
Yeah.
That's not limited to this group, it's just what I observed quite quickly, and so I wanted except for Paul, he's a pansy. I mean, sorry. He just likes.
I don't care what people
I'm
think.
just joking. And so they were talking one night about whiskey so passionately, and we were throwing around these great terms like, what's the dram? I'll have a wee dram. Everyone's having a whiskey or a scotch at the end of the night. And then this beautiful turn of phrase called, what was it?
Kiss tank.
No, that's not it. Somebody said that they take their whiskey with just a threat of water. A threat. It's a threat. And I thought that was wonderful. And I thought, I'm coming back next month for the whiskey song for these drunk people. And so I wrote a song about that. But my reason for picking this song tonight is twofold. It was sort of the time that I felt the most at ease in this new group of songwriters. And it's also sort of a reactionary decision because this morning I played for almost 200 public school kids. And I'm kind of foul-mouthed at heart. And I just felt like I should probably play the most inappropriate song tonight that I could in a room full of adults. So I'm going to do that. And the other thing to note is that little kids can't clap for shit. Okay, so I'm going to ask, you can start to help me. You can fade away if you want to. I don't really need the help, but I just felt I'm going to play this upbeat song that makes people maybe want to clap. And you can help me. And it can fade away. It's not a big deal, but we can show these little turds how to hold down a 4/4 rhythm. It's not like we're playing complex rhythms here, guys. So I had to school them, and it still didn't work out. I digress. This song is called The Ballad of Johnny Walker. Thank you so much. Hang on a second, hang on. All right. 1, 2, 3. That's good. My name is Johnny Walker Red, and I'm speaking for the everyman. I use the troubles and the pain you put upon your tired working hands. My love of whiskey passed down the line. It's part of me, it's in my blood. You line 'em up and I'll knock 'em down, and I'll stay until they turn the lights off. You see, it's not as if I have a choice. I got 3 mouths to feed, but see, I got this whiskey under control. No, man, it does not control me. My name is Johnny Walker Black. My successes, I've had a few. I use the voices that creep up and talk you out of doing what you do. Yeah, late at night I get on the prowl. I'm like a demon with the foulest of breath. Yeah, then my contents, they spew on forth onto my shirt just like a Rorschach's test. You see, it's not as if I have a choice. This train keeps gaining speed. You see, I've got this whiskey under control. No, man, it does not control me. I have the rhythm of child as well. I was jamming, I just want to let him go. Sorry, I was just tuning. My name is Johnny Walker Blue, only the finest on my liquor shelf. Yeah, I got rich off the backs of the poor, and I kept the spoils all to myself. I guess the long and the short of it is, I'm a soul that's way too late to be saved. So I down a shot and I plead the fifth, and I take my bullshit to my grave. You see, it's not as if I have a choice. The greed is pulling me, but see, I got this whiskey under control. No man's taking hold of it, got its hold on it, taking control of me.
Nobody wants to clap for that song. They want to listen.